What is up, everybody, and welcome back. It's been a while since I uploaded anything to this channel, so this is going to be the second part of my Ultimate Yokai Guide video, following up to my most viewed video from this channel. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Futakuchi Onna. Futa means two, Kuchi meaning mouth, and Onna meaning woman. The two-mouthed woman is a peculiar yokai in that her origins is probably not that of a yokai. Well, based on what story you read. As the name suggests, this particular group of supernatural women have two mouths, one normal mouth and the other freaky mouth that can be found at the back of her head, hidden underneath her long hair. It is said that this second freaky mouth is always in a state of hunger, always wanting to eat. She can control her hair, becoming tendrils that she will use to grab whatever food and feed her second mouth. Because of this, she herself never gets hungry. Stories and legends of Futakuchi Onna are always in a couple's marriage setting. A man married a woman, unbeknownst to him that she is a Futakuchi Onna. As they live together, he noticed that his wife never seems to eat and never gets hungry. As days go by, the husband gets more and more curious as to why his wife never eats. So one day, under the pretense of going out to work, he left the house only to sneak back in the house and spy on his wife. To his horror, he saw that his wife was actually Futakuchi Onna. The first appearance of Futakuchi Onna is from Ihon Hyaku Monogatari, released in 1841. In this work, an illustration was given for the yokai. The illustration shows a woman with another mouth at the back of her head, eating, using hair as appendages to grab rice balls nearby. In this work, the author tells a story of the origin of Futakuchi Onna. So in this story, a woman is married to a woodcutter with a daughter. The woman, who also had her own child from a previous marriage, neglected her new stepdaughter, to the point that her stepdaughter died due to starvation. One day, I don't know how it happened, but her woodcutter husband accidentally swung his axe to the back of her head. The axe wound slowly turns into a freaky looking mouth, where it starts to confess the guilt at killing the stepdaughter. So, in a way, her dead stepdaughter's spirit starts possessing her through the wound, and that explains why the second mouth is always in a state of hunger, as the stepdaughter was starved to death. There is another story of Futakuchi Onna called The Wife Who Didn't Eat. The story tells a tale of a wife who is perfect in every way. She is beautiful, hardworking, and strangely never eats. Although this helped ease the burden of the husband on providing food, he could not help to get curious and suspicious of his wife's behavior of not eating at all. One day, the wife's mother-in-law came to visit. She too became curious as to her daughter-in-law's bizarre behavior. One day, she decided to spy on the wife. What she saw shocked him to the core, as she saw the wife was feasting with her second mouth. The wife, seeing that she got caught, reveals her true nature as a Yamaoba, which is some sort of mountain hag or a mountain female Oni. She transforms into her true self, which is a spider yokai, and runs back to the mountains. Ubume. Ubume is said to be the spirit of women who died while pregnant. They haunt the world because of their attachment to their unborn child and her regret of quote-unquote killing her baby. She haunts the world either to find comfort among the living or seeking revenge. She is often portrayed as a ghastly looking woman with sad or anguished expression, her body pale. She carries a baby. She is topless, with her breasts exposed. However, her lower body is covered with white shroud that is severely stained with blood. This blood shows her connection to the lake of boiling blood in Buddhist hell called Chi no Ike. You see, ancient Japan believed in a system of ancestor worship. Therefore, it is of the utmost importance for a family to continue their bloodline, so that the young can take care of the graves and worship the spirits of the old. So it is thought that when a pregnant woman dies, naturally the baby in her belly dies with her, accidentally severing the bloodline. Because of this, the mothers were sent to hell to be punished. It is a cruel and unfair fate for these mothers, but that was what they believed back then. Not only that, due to her regret and attachment to her unborn dead child, she haunts the living world as a restless spirit. However, there are ways to pacify these spirits according to several burial rituals. One is that the monk will bury the dead mother with a doll as a substitute, or sometimes they will extract out the dead fetus from the mother and put it right beside her before burying her. The Ubume comes in many different forms. Some portrayals show them as a bird creature, flying and snatching human babies. These bird-like portrayals are closer to its origin. It is believed that the legends of Ubume comes from China. She is originally a bird creature, but when the legend arrived in ancient Japan, the legend changes and her form changes to a more traditional pale weeping ghost type. Do you remember Momo, the half-woman, half-bird scary sculpture that became a meme several years back? Well, that sculpture is one of the portrayals of Ubume. Akaname, meaning the filth licker. Akaname is a goblin-like yokai that resides in people's bathrooms. This creepy-looking critter is born from accumulated skin, hair, mold, and lime scale that were left behind in the bathtub. It is a disgusting creature, and having one in your house shows how little you care about the cleanliness of your bathroom. As they are born from filth, they eat filth to survive. So every night, they come out and lick the filth and grime in your bathroom or bathtub, using its long sticky tongue to scrape off the filth. It is described as having a child-like appearance. They are as tall as a normal child, with a large head, round eyes, and their skin sometimes come in red, green, or white. The yokai is not malevolent, but it can be disturbing to have this thing crawling around in your bathroom, licking every nook and cranny of the place. And also having this yokai in your house might be a wake-up call for you to start seriously cleaning your bathroom. Ushi Oni. Ushi meaning ox and Oni meaning demon. One of the most feared yokai in history, often appears in legends and folklore as this massive and difficult obstacle that the hero of the story must face and overcome. Successfully killing the creature is regarded to be an impressive feat, a mark of a true hero. The yokai's appearance differs throughout different prefectures. The most common appearance of Ushi Oni is an ox head on a giant arachnid body, with each leg ending in a huge, sharp claws. Another appearance of Ushi Oni goes from bipedal horned furry creature with terrifying glaring eyes and a pair of sharp fangs, to a bizarre creature that looks like a combination of ox and tiger. Different prefectures also have their own different stories of Ushi Oni, each story portraying the yokai very differently from one another. In the book Azuma Kagami, written in 1226, tells a story of how an Ushi Oni suddenly appeared at Senzoji Temple in Edo. Due to the close proximity of this creature, 20 monks fell ill, while 7 died. Apparently, one characteristic of Ushi Oni that persists throughout different variations of Ushi Oni is that it is a Yakub Yogami, a bringer of disease. Anyone who comes close or even looks or touches it can lead to many health complications and maybe even death. In Ehime Prefecture, Ushi Oni is described to be a demon with the head of an ox and the body of a whale. In Wakayama Prefecture, it is said that an Ushi Oni resides in one of the waterfalls that empties to the Wado River. It is said that this version of Ushi Oni can lick your shadow, and if it does, you will fall ill and possibly die. In Okayama, this yokai is called Gyuki, and is said to be an old mountain god that had turned into a yokai. One other interesting law about Ushi Oni is that they occasionally partner up with another yokai named Yurei Onna, the wet woman. So what they do is that they will set up a trap for unsuspecting victims. The Yurei Onna will stand by the river or at the beach. She disguises as a woman holding a baby. She acts as if she is in trouble. She will try asking random passerby to help hold her baby for her, as she tries to find help. If the passerby agrees, then the Yurei Onna will suddenly jump into the river or sea. By holding the baby, the passenger becomes paralyzed and is freezed in place. This is when Ushi Oni will emerge from the waters and kill the victim. Then, they together feast on the victim. Kasha. In a previous yokai guide video, we talked about Bakeneko and Nekomata, two of the most famous cat yokais. However, there is another, the hellish cat from hell, Kasha. However, this yokai was not always a cat. Originally, the yokai took the form of flaming carts from Buddhist hell. This goes well with the name Kasha, which literally translates to burning wheel or flaming wheel. However, for some reason, the portrayal of this yokai evolved to a monstrous feline-like creature. Kasha first started popping up during the Heian period in Jigoku Zoshi or Hell Scrolls. These scrolls depict supposedly the terrifying and harrowing landscape of hell, populated with demons that torment the souls of sinners. These scrolls were made during the spreading of Buddhism in ancient Japan and were made to scare people from performing sins and ones who go against the Buddhist teachings. In these scrolls, Kasha was depicted as a flaming cart with a sharp-fanged demon or Oni pulling the cart. Kasha is the dispatcher of hell. It is said that they will appear during funeral processions and will drag the recently deceased sinner's corpse to hell. Kasha's appearance evolved over time, and it is not until 1776 in Toriyama Sekien's Gazu Hyaki Yagyo where the fiery feline demon appearance started to become the Kasha design. This piece is one of my favorite works from Toriyama Sekien. The terrifying cat-like creature, weirdly flaunting its cat nipples, is carrying a corpse with it, and behind it are this fiery and otherworldly aura, perhaps to show that this creature is not of our world. Nue. Continuing on with the most feared yokai in ancient Japan, we have the Nue, an almost eldritch-like yokai, said to cause nightmares and sickness to people just by looking at it or being near it. Its appearance is quite chaotic. It has the head of a monkey, the body of a tiger, the legs of a tanuki, and a snake tail. It is quite similar to the Greeks' chimera. The reason why it looks like different animals stitched together is because it is said that the real form of Nue is so bizarre and eldritch that the human minds could not comprehend it, and we start to associate its bizarre appearance with the things we know. The oldest known record of Nue comes from the Heike Monogatari, written in 1330, a record of the Genpei Wars between the Taira and Minamoto clans. The story said that in 1153, Emperor Konoe was terrorized by a Nue in the form of black clouds floating over the palace. The emperor fell ill and was terrorized with nightmares every night. After countless failed attempts with medicines and prayers to cure the emperor summoned the legendary samurai Minamoto no Yorimasa. Seeing the situation, he decided to find a way to cure the emperor. He sensed a malevolent spirit in the area, and he stood guard at night when the emperor was asleep. This is when he saw a dark black cloud starting to form above the palace, accompanied by a strange roar. He knew that this must be a Nue, and it must have been responsible for the emperor's mysterious illness. He shot an arrow through the black cloud. Then a loud painful roar was heard. Then the beast dropped down to the ground, dead. It is said that Yorimasa then disposed of Nue's body by placing it on a boat and floated it down the Kamo River. Several villages down the river claim that the body floated ashore, and to this day there are 3 burial mounds on the western side of Japan called Nuezuka, each claiming to house the true body of Nue. This tale was adapted to a Noh play called Nue in the 16th century. However, the Meiji period, which is around 1868 to 1912, saw the rise of Nue once again, this becoming a mascot or representation of the growing cholera disease in Japan at that time. The battle against cholera was personified as a battle against the Nue. Daidarabotchi, Japan's answer to Greek titans. Daidarabotchi is a primordial creature that existed way back when Japan was still young. It is a giant creature, so huge that it can pick up Mount Fuji with its hands. In fact, the creation of Mount Fuji and other secret mountains of Japan was credited to Daidarabotchi. It is said that this being was Japan's sculptor. When he walks, his footprints became lakes and swamps. The lake Biwa became a lake after huge chunks of land were taken by him to make Mount Fuji. The mountains and beautiful landscape of Japan is believed to be the work of Daidarabotchi. Baku, another chimeric yokai, this time having the trunk of an elephant, a body of a bear, eyes of a rhinoceros, and claws of a tiger. The legends of Baku originates from China, and the legend is believed to travel to Japan through sailors and such. Despite being a somewhat scary-looking yokai, this creature or yokai is regarded as a divine being and a guardian spirit. What they do is they feed on dreams, especially nightmares. Nightmares, according to local belief, are said to be caused by evil spirits and other yokai. When a Baku enters a house to feast on a person's nightmare, it also dispels or gets rid of the evil spirits. Therefore, Baku is seen as an auspicious being, bringing in good luck wherever it goes. Because of this, pillows were embroidered with the Baku name. Talismans and charms were made with the name Baku engraved on them. With its name close to you, it is believed that it can bring you good luck and keep you away from bad dreams and evil spirits. Carvings of Baku were kept in the sleeping areas for the same reason as well. Carvings of Baku can also be seen in temples as well, usually depicted in a fearsome manner, in order to scare away evil spirits. The legend of Baku was most probably inspired by a real animal, the Malaysian tapir. Mikoshi means look over or look through, while Nyudo refers to a Buddhist monk. Although not an actual monk, this yokai does resemble one, having a clean-shaven head and very strong features. However, one feature that made them stand out as a yokai is its long, elongated neck. Somewhat similar to Rokurokubi that we talked about in the last video. While it being a creature of folklore, its appearance differs from each prefecture. One other different variant of Mikoshi Nyudo is described as being an abnormally tall monk. According to legends from Okayama Prefecture, it is said that if you look at the tall Mikoshi Nyudo from its feet up to its head, it will grow in size, becoming a giant, and will eat you. However, if you look at them from the head down to their feet, they will shrink in size, allowing you to flee. Other areas share somewhat similar stories of Mikoshi Nyudo. There are also chants that can be used when encountering a Mikoshi Nyudo, such as chanting, "I have seen past the Mikoshi Nyudo," or "I have seen past you," while keeping your cool when standing against the yokai. This yokai became one of the more famous yokai during the Edo period, appearing in numerous popular media, ukiyo-e and such. However, a lot of these portrayals show them not as a tall monstrous monk, but a monk with an elongated and bumpy neck. Its face is scary looking while he peers over folding screens or any kind of barriers. Mikoshi Nyudo are sometimes believed to be kitsune or tanuki in disguise, playing pranks on humans. Yamabiko, meaning mountain echo. This yokai is a cute creature that is built like a monkey, with a pair of dog-like ears and fingerless hands. It is said that Yamabiko is the one responsible for the echoes that you will hear if you shout or do anything that produces loud noises in the forests and mountains. It has the ability to mimic the noises that you produce instantly, thus making it seem like it is an echo that you hear back, but in actuality, these little dudes were the ones making it, which is in the way kinda creepy. Anyways, this is one example of how ancient people try to explain science or nature by blaming these phenomena on fantastical creatures. Taka Onna, another tall yokai in our list. Taka means tall and Onna means woman. This yokai is said to look like a normal woman in the day, however during nighttime is when they show their true nature. They are able to elongate their body, making them tall. Taka Onna were quite popular during Edo period, Sightings and legends say that Taka Onna likes to roam around the pleasure district and brothel areas. They feed on sexual energies that emanate in that area. Usually in Edo period brothels, the client and the courtesan will do their deed on the second floor of the brothel. So this yokai likes to peek and watch people have sex on the second floor by stretching their bodies and making them taller. They like to peek and sometimes scare them as well. This behavior comes from the fact that according to the legends of Taka Onna were ordinary women who were too unattractive to marry and didn't get to feel the warmth of a man in her entire life. So her strong jealousy twisted and corrupted them and transformed them into a yokai. So in short, a femcel yokai. Okka. Okka is one of the more mysterious yokai in this list, or any videos that I have uploaded about yokai before. Okka is this mysterious white circular blob creature with an eye and possessing a pair of frog-like legs, or sometimes only possessing one leg. Despite being so mysterious, it was also very popular among scroll artists way back then, as it will almost always appear in every yokai scrolls of ancient Japan. One of the best known scrolls that contain Okka is the Hyaki Yagyo scroll, or in English, Night Parade of 100 Demons scroll. In all of these ancient scrolls, Okka has always been depicted as a victim to a different yokai called Kanazu Chibo, whereas you can see this other yokai is trying to whack the poor Okka with a wooden hammer. Why Okka is always being targeted by this other yokai is not explained any further. Maybe it is just for a comedic effect or for the amusement of the viewer. Several different laws were made to accompany and explain the background of this weird little yokai. Some say that it is a toad spirit based on its appearance. Some speculate that it is a Tsukumogami, which is a subclass of yokai that consists of objects coming to life and manifested as a yokai. While some say that maybe Okka is an infant yokai. This theory comes from another speculation that maybe the word Okka comes from a simplified version or baby talk version of the word Obake, which means monster or ghost. However, the Okka is a yokai baby theory takes a very dark turn when you realize that in every scroll, Okka, this quote-unquote infant, is getting pounded by a hammer. Even the name is actually not fully official, as you can see. Despite their numerous appearances in scrolls, the yokai was never named, but only one where it was named, in the Bakemono Emaki scroll, where the name Okka is associated with a similar rotund creature. Omukade. Mukade is the Japanese name for centipede. However, Omukade is said to be a gigantic centipede that terrorized Japan during the Heian period in Omi province, modern-day Shiga prefecture. The legend of Omukade said that the centipede was so huge that it can coil around mountains. This monster posed such a threat to nature that the Dragon King of Lake Biwa decided to get rid of it by employing a warrior that knows no fear. So to find his special candidate, he disguised himself as a giant serpent and lied down across a bridge, preventing anybody from crossing. However, one day, a warrior by the name Fujiwara no Hidesato came and crossed the bridge, stepping on the giant snake in the process without showing any sign of fear at all. The Dragon King knows that he is the one suitable for the job. So the Dragon King employed Hidesato to slay the Omukade. Hidesato finds the giant centipede coiling around Mount Mikami. He shot several arrows at the giant monster, but it seemed that his arrows had no effect on the monster. With his last arrow, he moistens the tip of his arrow with his own saliva before shooting it. This, however, proved to be a successful strategy as the monster writhed in pain and died. Maybe human saliva is its weakness? The story did not expand much about the saliva thingy. Anyways, after the death of the centipede monster, Hidesato was gifted a huge bell by the Dragon King, and he later donated the bell to Midera Temple, which the bell is still in display today. Otoroshi. The name is a regional slang or corruption of the word osoroshi, which means scary. Well, suitable with the name, the yokai is scary looking, although there is some sort of strange cuteness factor as well. It appears as a four-legged creature with long wild fur or mane that covers pretty much its entire body. It is a four-legged creature with sharp claws. Its most striking design is its horrifying face, with huge piercing eyes that surely can make people paralyzed in fear. It has a big nose to accommodate its huge eyes, and its mouth is often portrayed as gaping, with two huge tusks coming out from it. Its habitat are man-made structures, especially shrines, and it likes to sit or stay on high places, on rooftops and on top of torii gates. This creature is often depicted sitting on top of torii gate at shrine quarters. Because of this, people believe these yokai to be a guardian spirit of the shrine. Its diet consists of birds such as pigeons and sparrows, and as can be seen in a lot of the portrayals, you can see that the yokai is holding a bird in its right hand. It is also said that they also prey on bad or wicked people who enter the shrine quarters that it is guarding, pouncing from the torii gate to the unexpected victim below, tearing them to shreds and eating them. Ouni. Another grotesque yokai but with a heart of gold. Well, if you treat it right. This yokai looks like a hag with very strong facial features, a big nose and a large mouth, with teeth that are blackened. Its hair covers most part of its body except its face. It is native to Niigata Prefecture. The legend of Oni tells a story of how one night an old woman came and visited a rural village. It was nighttime and she wanted to rest. She decided to ask a family if they can give her free lodging and a meal for the night at their house. Seeing the old tired woman, they agreed to let the woman stay without asking anything back in return. However, when the next day comes, they find out that there is an enormous amount of thread in their house, and the old woman is nowhere to be seen. From the story, it can be concluded that the yokai have the ability to produce thread through supernatural powers. The word Oni, well, not to be confused with Oni, comes from the Japanese word for a fibrous plant called ramie. This plant was used mainly to make thread. So that is all for today. Thank you so much for your support throughout last year and also this year. So I have been quite busy lately because I just got a job, and hopefully I can at least upload or produce one video a month at least. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you have a wonderful day ahead of you whenever you are watching this video, and take care and goodbye.